So there would be two parts to this. The first part would be if you're thinking about getting sober, this would be a great time.
Yep.
Right? There's zero.
Best time to plant a tree 50 years ago. The second best time right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to save yourself years of misery if you just do it now. Or you can just do it your way and get the results.
And then be back here in 5 years.
Right. The other thing I'd like to say is, we didn't go into too much of the AI stuff.
Oh,
and that's great. That's fine. But wrap your head around this new AI revolution, because if you don't, as a business owner, you're going to be fucked.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. We're here at RoofCon again, and we've got a guest today that I'm really excited to get to sit down and have a conversation with. We have been going back and forth for right at a year now, and we've got a really interesting story about how we met and how our friendship has kind of blossomed over the years. So I'd like to introduce my guest today, Corey Berrier. Corey, dude, thanks for being here, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on yours.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
It's been a long time coming.
It has.
Yeah.
It has. And, I say that a lot in this setting because I'm so adamant about sitting in front of people to have the conversation, right? Like, it would be very easy. We could have done this podcast 8 months ago, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice us sitting in a room at the same time and having the opportunity to be vulnerable, in that moment. So real quick, get out of the way, real fast what you do so everybody knows, and then we'll move on to real shit.
So I consult with home service companies. I also recently have started an AI company, which AI automations, we've built several softwares that are going to make this industry move much faster. Getting people on board with it's a different story, but I think we fixed it now to where it's very simple, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to deploy. And I think that's probably the key.
Good.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, dude.
All right, now we get to the real shit.
Let's go for it.
So, we met a year ago this week.
Maybe even today.
Maybe even today.
I think it's today.
Really?
I think so.
So literally a year ago today, we met, and we had a mutual friend that kept trying to get us to talk and get us to meet. And I'll be honest, when people tell me that, I'm like, dude, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't need any more friends.
I'm good on my fucking friend level. I don't fucking need any more people in my life, taking energy from me. I'm really fine. And we both ended up at the same after party.
Yep.
And we started talking. Here's what I remember. I remember not believing how fucking long we talked. It felt like a first date when you're trying to fuck the girl.
I think it was over 2 hours.
Way over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Way over 2 hours.
Yeah.
But tell everybody a little bit about how that conversation went.
So, I knew that you were in recovery.
Yeah.
I guess that's really the reason he wanted us to meet.
Correct.
And I wasn't actually in recovery at the time.
Right.
Having a shit ton of experience being in recovery, but at the time I was still smoking weed. I didn't tell you that. But our conversation started about me saying I am.
And apparently I found out this morning that you were fucking high when you were talking about me. Lying motherfucker.
Lying motherfucker. So the truth is, I hadn't drank in almost 14 years, but the story doesn't really end there. I started smoking weed, as you've now found out, and I'll be honest with you, if I'd have drank 6 years ago, or 6.5 years ago, we'd be having a different conversation, because I'd have probably gotten sober significantly quicker, because things would have went sideways way quicker. So what my experience in the last 6.5 years, it's been a really slow, tedious process. And after our conversation, I had a conversation with God. Let me go back, because the I am part. I was explaining to you that I didn't want to say I am an alcoholic,
Right.
because that projects out I'm still this broken person,
Right.
because that was my mindset,
Yep.
right? Because I was high, right? Of course that was my mindset. And you asked me, you said, well, in a really polite way, maybe it's not about you. And that statement triggered my brain to say he's right. You were 100% right. And so I started back on my recovery journey, and I had a conversation with God when I got back. I went to a 12-step meeting when I got back. I had a conversation with God. I'm not going to quit now, but I'm willing to quit whenever that time is right.
There you go.
And it was a hard pill to swallow going back to the 12-step program to begin with, because I had all these stories built up in my mind about why I didn't need to go back, which was ego. We know that now, I'm sure.
Because you didn't want anybody to find out you're still smoking weed, too.
Well, that too.
Right? I assume. Maybe.
I think just my ego didn't want to say I needed that help anymore,
Gotcha.
right?
You had it figured out.
I had it figured out,
Yeah.
but I had nothing figured out.
Right.
But a slow bleed on how to fuck your life up. And so I think if I'd have drank 6.5 years ago, I'd have gotten here way quicker. But for those people out there that do smoke weed in recovery, my experience is it just didn't work for me. And you don't realize at the time everything's going south. It's not like you go out and get DUI, right? There's no really consequences
Right.
on the surface of smoking weed, but it's below the surface being basically a dry drunk.
Right.
Where I was living just like an alcoholic, but I couldn't even see it.
Right.
And so
And to be
fortunately,
clear, like, nobody's saying don't smoke weed.
no,
Right?
not at all.
What we're saying is that if you're in recovery and you want to be sober because that's how you need to live your life to be the best version of yourself, then you need to take a hard fucking look. If you're still smoking weed or doing something that you think isn't impacting you, you might be surprised at how much it is actually impacting you.
Right.
Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate. And I would say, ask yourself, how many things in your life can you do in moderation successfully? Well, if you're like me, not a lot.
Dude, I can't fucking eat pizza in moderation.
Right.
I can't fucking eat Doritos in moderation.
Right.
I can't, like, all the things that I like.
Right.
I will eat. I will fucking eat until I am sick from it.
Yeah.
Which is exactly how I drink.
Yep.
And exactly how I do cocaine.
And exactly how I smoke weed.
Yep.
Right. Same
Is it?
difference.
Is it?
Yeah.
Something,
Like,
that's how you smoke weed?
I did everything that way.
You weren't the guy that was like, oh, one little deal for me and I'm good. I'm a little buzzed and I'm fine.
well, I wasn't high as a kite.
Right.
Yeah, so I just maintained a lot like I drank. Like,
Right.
I didn't get smashed every
It
day.
had to be constant though.
Constant.
You couldn't live in a state where you had to feel.
No, because I was
Everything.
uncomfortable.
Right.
And I didn't want to feel.
Right. What were you uncomfortable about?
God, the 6.5 years of, I lost the business in 2018, and I really felt like I never recovered from that. I didn't know what to do when that happened, and that was about the time that I moved away from AA. Actually, it was before that, so it explains why I lost the business. Right, I couldn't keep everything together, and that business essentially burnt down, and it's taken me until recently to really get my life back on track, because I was trying to get it on track. I was depending on nobody else,
Just you.
just me and my thoughts.
Yep.
And that's a dangerous damn
That's scary
place.
as shit.
Bro, it's terrible. Like, if I could solve my problems, I wouldn't have had to go to the other to
Right.
the recovery program.
Right.
But in my mind, I was going to solve problems, and I've done some cool shit during that time. But by sheer will.
Right.
Right.
But think of all the cool shit you could have done.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
I think about that. Like, I got sober when I was 30, and I remember getting so upset in that first year of sobriety as things were getting better and better and better and better for me, going, what would have happened if I would have done this 5 years ago?
Right.
How far ahead of the curve would I be
if I would have done this then, right? And then I had to have conversations with people to get them to tell me to stop fucking doing that to myself.
Right.
Because that was holding me back.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But at least acknowledge it and be self-aware.
Yeah, dude, 100%. And I tried every way that I could possibly try to solve this problem without doing the thing that I know works. Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous.
When you started over, did you get a sponsor and start doing the steps again?
Immediately.
Okay.
I started, so when I got back, one, I think that first week, I picked up a sponsee, which probably wasn't the smartest thing.
That was the thing. You called me and you're like, yeah, I'm working with people. And I'm like, motherfucker, you don't even know how to work with people.
Right, I had no idea. But you know what? That guy's still my sponsee today.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like doing shit backwards.
I do. But I did get a sponsor immediately.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, though, obviously I wasn't honest with him. And so I had him for... I guess we got...
That's so funny you say that real quick, because I started reading a book on how to be a better sponsor.
Yeah?
And in the book, it literally says, expect your sponsee to lie to you. We've all been fucking liars our whole life, so you have to expect a certain level of distrust.
Yeah.
The only thing you have to make sure they don't lie to you about is drinking.
Right.
And then eventually we'll get to the other. But isn't that weird? Like, so I didn't mean to interrupt the story, but like...
But that makes sense.
That blew my fucking mind when I read it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be okay with them fucking lying to me? Absolutely not.
Right.
And I had to bring myself down and like bring my ego down to be able to realize.
Yeah, who the hell really think that they're not going to lie?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway, got a sponsor.
Yeah, got a
Started doing
sponsor.
steps.
Right. We started doing the steps. I got through, I want to say... Actually, I'll tell you, I sold him on, I don't need to start, but it's step 4. Right? That's exactly what I
You
did.
sold them on that you didn't need to do
Yeah,
it for?
we need to start on 4.
Oh, start
right. I
on
knew
4.
I needed to start on 4.
Right.
But I didn't think I needed 1, 2, and 3. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'd have gotten 1, 2, and 3, we wouldn't be in this situation. Right. And so I got through. I don't remember the first one. The second guy that I asked, we were in a meeting and he said, "Hey, your sponsor's a dumbass. If you're what did he say? Something along the lines of, if you're your sponsor is an idiot." Somewhere along those lines.
There you go.
And that morning, I had written my 4th step on my own. Like, no, yeah. And
Once
like,
again, jump in the line.
100%. And so I told him, I'm like, yeah, the last guy, he wanted to meet, he's sitting here talking about step 1. I don't need to be on step 1. And he's like, yeah, dude, you need to start on step 4. I'm like, you're my guy. Perfect. So we got through 9, and I wouldn't say he gave me poor advice. He gave me the best advice he could with the information that I gave him.
Right.
And so I made a decision to not talk about one of my amends because I gave him a sliver, and I didn't do it on purpose, that's the truth. I really just didn't remember all the details, nor did I want to.
Right.
So without the details, I can't get good advice, right? If you can't hit good information in, good information out. So once that happened, and I realized that I can't really go to this guy for a problem. If I'm having a marital problem, I can't go to him because he's going to give me some bullshit answer because he's in a miserable marriage. So it's like, you got to think about these things. And so
That's why you have to find a sponsor that is somebody that has what you want.
yeah, and he's not.
Right.
But he was a hard ass.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I needed that.
too. Yeah, I
Right.
feel like you definitely did.
Yeah, and so we got to step 9. I made my amends, not all of them, but most of them. And then this thing came up with that I didn't make an amends about, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, I can't go to him. He already gave me his 2 cents. So I went and got one of my first sponsors. We diligently went through the steps in a way like I'd never gone through them before. And I got through all of them. I guess we didn't really do 11 and 12.
You do 10, 11, and 12 all the time.
Right, 100%.
Those are living steps.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I realized with him is he's going to the same meetings that I started going to, where that's okay if you're 26 years sober and you're picking up sponsees.
Right.
I was not 26 years sober picking up sponsees. I need to be around people I can learn from.
Right.
I need to be around people that are talking about recovery,
right.
not I just made it to the halfway. I just made it to the homeless shelter.
Right.
But it's a different conversation.
Yeah.
And so I moved away from those meetings and started going to a Monday night meeting, which is not it's not really a 12-step meeting. It's a meeting with all the steps combined.
Yeah.
Anybody can be there, and you can crosstalk. And so,
oh God, that sounds like fucking chaos.
It sounds like it, but it's not.
Okay.
Because there's people in there that are not even in sobriety. Maybe their kids are in sobriety, or maybe they've got somebody that needs to be in sobriety.
Interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
I still go to this meeting.
Yeah.
And the guy that runs it just has an aura about him that was calming and just patient. And so I switched to him. And now I have him as a sponsor, and right now he's working. But guess what I found? You're not going to find all the solutions you need in one person.
Right.
You're just not. So I have other people that I plug for different things that he's not going to necessarily be able to help me with.
Yes.
But it took me going through all these people to realize you're not going to find the one.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So where are you at now in your journey?
I'm done with the steps, and I've still got that one sponsee. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I mean, I'll counter that and say you're never done with the steps.
Fair.
Right, because you're always doing 10, 11, and 12.
Sure.
And you should always be reviewing everything else, right? Because if something comes up and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, that should have been on my 5th, that will build into a resentment.
That's true.
Right? So, like, we're always doing them because what I believe is what we've been given is a blueprint for life.
Yeah.
And a blueprint on how to live and how to treat people, right? And if we do 10 and 11, if we do 10 and we take a personal inventory every fucking day of what did I do wrong? How did I wrong somebody? Did I immediately apologize? Did I do the right thing? Did I take the time to go back and say, hey, you know what, I think I was wrong on that? Do I take time to meditate, right? And 11, right? Am I doing 12? Am I helping people that are in the program or need to be in the program? Am I helping those people? That's how we live then. Right. So obviously I think you're doing that.
I am.
Right. But like that's how we continue down that journey and down that path, and that's how we do it together.
Sure. Right. 100%.
Because I didn't go through the steps with you, but you're still going to use me and I'm going to use you as a sounding board.
Sure.
To pick up the phone, because in the very beginning, for people watching that are maybe have questions about sobriety or are afraid, fearful of sobriety, they need to know that this phone does not weigh 1,000 pounds. Right. This phone is light, and the people on the other end want it to ring. Right? Because when we pick it up, we think that we're a burden.
Right. 100%.
Right? We think that we're a burden.
Right.
And you're not. Right? Because we need to work step 12.
Right.
We don't get to keep it unless we give it away. Right. At the same time. Like, we want that phone to ring so that we can give back and pour into somebody else to be able to help them what was so freely given to us. Yeah. Right? I mean, 100% our friendship blossomed because of what we've been through separately. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But together. Yeah. Right? Because we were both on that same ship at different times in our life. And now we're able to navigate those waters together. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Totally. Because, look, I am all I think about. Right? So if I have to answer a phone call from you, I'm not thinking about me. Right. And it gives me the opportunity to work like you said, the 12 step. Right. And people that are listening or watching this, that's an important piece to remember, because we all have that voice inside of our head that says, I'm going to be bothered. I'm going to interrupt something they're doing. They're at work. The list can go on and on.
Yep.
And all those things are not true. They may be at work, but guess what? Maybe they need to step away. And typically, my experience is when someone calls me with a problem, I'm in the middle of thinking about me anyway, and so it gives me an opportunity to just think about you.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I asked you when I was doing our exploratory call and everything was something that people wouldn't know about you. And your answer was that I'm insecure as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what you mean by that.
So I just realized this. I don't know if I just realized this, but it came to full fruition for me recently. My wife and I are going through marriage counseling. And what he pointed out was, like, I grew up in a nice neighborhood, really probably the nicest neighborhood in the whole city. But my parents were not doctors. They were not lawyers. We weren't, by any stretch, the richest. By no means were the wealthiest people on the street.
Right.
However, I've always grown up with thinking I was less than because I grew up in that neighborhood feeling like I was less than.
Yep.
And I think that has carried through my whole life of thinking, well, I just don't measure up, or that person measures up to a higher degree. In other words, comparison. Like, the comparison game is a dead end street. It's a dead end street because those people, as I look back, a lot of those people's lives are nowhere near as good as mine now. Right. And so that comparison was really a fallacy.
I grew up the same way, so I moved when I was 7, 8, 10. When I was 10, I lived with my grandparents. My parents got divorced when I was 7, and we moved in with them, and they lived in North Omaha, which was like the shittiest, fucking awfulest part of town in Omaha, right? But they lived there for 35 years, right? And when they first moved there, it was fine, right? It was normal middle class. And it went to shit. Gangs came in, like it was a whole thing, right? And so my grandpa had an opportunity to move us out of there and move us outside of Omaha, this little town called Elor, which was where we moved to, was a very affluent area, right? Like across the street were multi-million-dollar homes, right? And this is in 1989, right? So a multi-million-dollar home in 1989 is a really, right? Like really nice. We lived on what I call the poor side of the street. Right? Where we just lived in a normal middle-class house. But like I went to school with all of the rich kids, right? And all this, and they all had like the fancy shoes, and right? Like I came from North Omaha, we're all wearing fucking LA gear, right? We got the fucking, like, with the big, so anyway, but I moved into that, and I had the exact same feeling that I never fit in, and I never measured up to any of those people that I was now being forced to associate with.
Right.
And I didn't start feeling part of until like we went to middle school, and the different parts of the town all came together. So now the middle class kids and the normal kids and the rich kids and the poor kids were all in the same school, and I was like, oh, you don't live by me, but I see you.
Yeah.
Right? I see you. But I also agree that because I had the exact same thing, is what I'm trying to say, is like my whole life was insecurities.
Yeah.
Right? And I know for a fact that it's also why I drank and used.
Right?
Yes. I drank and used because of how insecure I was. And I think the challenge for us now as adults, and for people watching, is what are we doing now to combat those feelings? Are we surrounding ourselves with people that are lifting us up? Or are we surrounding ourselves with people that are bringing us down, right? So, I mean, what are you doing to intentionally make sure you're around those people?
I put myself in the right places.
Okay.
And you could argue that being in recovery, being around, because you're not always around the most upstanding people. You're just not.
Correct.
But you got to be able to recognize your place.
And the problem is those people need your help.
They do. Right. So, in business, I surround myself with the people that are kicking ass. In my personal life, well, it's kind of a mix, to be honest. It kind of mixes together, to be honest with you. I don't hang out really with a lot of people from inside the rooms.
But you spend your time with them while you're there.
Yes, for sure. And
we've only got so much time and so much energy that we're putting out. Like,
that's right.
We have to be protective of our time.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. Yeah, I'm 100% okay with that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, and selfishness is a big thing, right? So I have to be selfish with who I spend my time with, and I can't look at it like I'm being selfish. I am protecting my energy. I'm protecting my mindset. Another one, like I protect myself from certain family members. Because they will suck the life out of you if you let them.
Isn't that sad? We've all got that same story. We've all got some family members that... Because they look at you like, wait, what are you doing?
Right.
What are you trying to do?
Right.
You're trying to do how many millions, and like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Right.
A lot of it is there, maybe, and that's just maybe the feeling that we get, and maybe it's not even the intention, but like, you sit there and you feel like you're being judged for trying to be successful.
Right. Is it going to be
crazy?
Is it going to be enough?
Because you would think you'd have a fucking cheering section.
You would think so.
Right?
But here's the catch. People will root for you when they're either above, when we're on the same playing field. You got to go after it. But when you get higher, people are like, yeah, he's a big for his britches. Like, I think he feels like he's made it.
It's Tom Brady syndrome.
Right.
Everybody rooted for Tom Brady.
Right.
Until he fucking won 4 fucking Super Bowls. They're like, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Right. If people cannot stand, it's like this. Like you see a homeless guy and you give him $20. Or the guy says, I'm raising money so I can get a job. He gets a job. He starts doing well in the job.
Raise money to get a job. Go on.
Right. If he's homeless, he's got to get, you
don't get a job. That's how you raise money.
Right. But homeless people don't do that.
Right.
They panhandle. Right. So the homeless guy gets cleaned up enough to get a job, gets a job, right? Let's just say he opens up a gym, hypothetically. Everybody supports him because they want to see him win. But as soon as he starts to hire that first employee, they're like, wait a minute. Are you like, you're the owner now? Like you think that you're not good? You think you're too good to do the work?
Right.
And it's like, what are you talking about? You helped me get here.
Right.
I don't know. That makes sense?
Yeah, I think it's because they want to feel, I think it's maybe like a parent where you always want to feel needed.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
You don't want your kid to grow up and become an adult and not need you anymore. The day that my daughter doesn't need me, I'm going to cry like a fucking baby, right? Because my purpose right now is her and everything that she needs and what I can do for her. And the minute that she doesn't is going to be heartbreaking. And what I think, just now that we're talking about this, is there's got to be some of that in that kind of dichotomy there of I want you to do well, but not well enough that you don't need me.
Right. Not too well.
Right?
Right.
And I don't even think that it's like, I bet that it's not even like pre-thought out.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? I think that it's probably a natural reaction.
Yeah.
Right? That if you're not self-aware enough to see it,
right,
then it continues. And as a general rule, people are just not fucking self-aware.
No, they're not.
Right? But if we were self-aware enough to know that that's what we're doing,
right,
that changes the narrative and that changes the conversation with the people that you're having it with, right? Like, I have to think about that all the time because then I think about it with its employees, right? If they outgrow you. Right. I can't get mad if an employee outgrows the position that I have for them and they want to move on to bigger and better things. I'm going to support them, right? If they leave and they're fucking me over, then fuck you, I hope you burn. Sure. Right? But like, if it's because you literally outgrew what you were doing here and I don't have a place for you that fits your skill set, like, man, what can I do to help you?
That's a win.
Right.
You've improved their life so much that they can advance on.
And that's what we should be doing with our kids.
Yeah.
And that's what people should be doing with the people that they're helping.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
Yeah. We really went somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Talk about your sales consulting you do real quick.
So I work with business owners. I come in and really, I'm going to be honest with you. It's disguised sort of like I'm going to help your sales team, but the truth of the matter is if you were a great leader, I wouldn't be there.
Right.
So it's a lot of psychology.
Okay.
A lot of listening to the problems, because here's the thing with business owners. They don't want to go to a psychiatrist. They don't want to go to a therapist, because that's really what they need. But they can justify hiring a consultant or a coach to come in and do the exact same job because it's disguised as they're helping the company, right? But the truth of the matter is, I find out what's going on with you. I find out what's going on with your leaders, because that's what is making your sales team suck.
Right. Right. How long have you been doing that?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is, have you, as you've been doing that, and now that you're in your sobriety journey, have you seen that you're bringing things from your sobriety journey into your coaching?
Yeah, empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know how empathetic I was before. It's like, hey, if I ask you to do this thing, I just need you to do it the way I need you to do it, and that's what I expect.
Yeah.
Well, expectations are gonna let you down.
Yep.
I can't put my expectations on you
Right.
as a human being, because you might let me down.
Right.
And I got to be okay with that. So my expectation is lower.
Right.
Right. Does that make sense?
Should we say lower, or is it adjusted?
Adjusted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I'm not tied to the outcome.
Right.
I'm not tied to if you fulfill what I'm there to give you the information.
Right.
Whatever you decide to do with it is up to you.
Yeah.
I can't force you to do anything.
Love that. Yeah.
Right? I can't, and it's out of my control. Much like everything else in life, right? Zero control.
Zero control.
Right.
Yeah. All I get to control is whether or not I take first strike.
That's right.
That's literally all I get
Yeah.
to control.
Whatever's within my arm's reach,
Yep.
I can control.
Yep.
Can't control my kid. I can't control what she
No.
does. I can't control what my wife does.
I'd really like to, though.
I would. I've tried every 7
I've
ways
got the
to
right
Sunday.
answer to fucking everything.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I know the answer.
Right.
The right one.
Of course.
All the fucking time.
Yeah.
If they just shut the fuck up and listen.
Right. Right. But doesn't always work out, does it?
No, but it really should.
Right.
Fuck. So the way that we always wrap up is I always want to give the floor back to the guest, because I know that we generally always have some kind of a burning desire that we wanted to make sure that we got out, and sometimes I miss it in the time that we have allotted. So I want to give the floor back to you for the last couple of minutes on anything that you want to make sure that got brought up or that we're letting the audience know about.
Sure. So it would be 2 parts to this. The first part would be, if you're thinking about getting sober, this would be a great time.
Yeah.
Right? There's zero.
Best time to plant a tree 50 years ago. The second best time right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Because you're going to save yourself years of misery if you just do it now. Or you can just do it your way and get the results.
And then be back here in 5 years.
Right. The other thing I'd like to say is, we didn't go into too much of the AI stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that's great. That's fine. But wrap your head around this new AI revolution, because if you don't, as a business owner, you're going to be fucked. I promise you, if you don't at least find somebody that can help you, or at least do the research on your own, which is a lot of stuff out there.
And that's something that you do.
It is.
Okay.
It is. We've built several softwares for both the roofing industry. We're building out some for the solar industry. In fact, our roofing tool actually might be better used as a solar tool, I've come to find out today. And we've done it for all the home services. And look, you could start by using ChatGPT. That would be the easiest, most simple way to get into this. But there's so much bigger shit happening out there that if you don't get on board with this, your company is not going to be a company.
Yeah.
Because the people that are getting on board are going to surpass everybody else by 2 decades.
Yeah.
And so my advice would be, figure it out, find somebody that can help you figure it out. Don't believe everything that you hear.
Yep.
And, vet the person. Make sure they know what the hell they're talking about.
And name of your podcast again?
Successful Life Podcast.
Successful Life. How does everybody find you other than that?
So you can find me on Facebook, just Corey Berrier. You'll spell it out, obviously. You can go to AI Automations Group, which is our automations group.
Okay.
Or you can just find me at CoreyBerrier.com.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Corey, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the opportunity to kind of go back in time a little bit, rehash, how we got together. I'm super appreciative of the fact that we get to be friends today. I love when I get your video messages. I appreciate the fact that you actually take the time to make sure that we stay in each other's lives, because I know that sometimes I'm really fucking bad at that. I'm sure you feel that sometimes you're really fucking bad at that. But the fact is that you take the effort and the time to do things like that, and I want to acknowledge that because I appreciate it. Everybody that's listening out there, I hope you got something out of this. It's impossible that you didn't. So if you did, remember, we don't have sponsors, but Zyn, for all of your nicotine needs. Cinnamon is my favorite, so Zyn, please fucking sponsor us. But no sponsors, so please share this shit. Get this out to as many people as you can, because maybe this conversation could help that one person that you didn't even know it could help. Okay? Do that, and also remember, everybody, be authentic. So get the fuck out.
Be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.